Good evening, everybody. Big Jonas here. Thank you so much for joining me. Going to talk about Bitcoin price action on this Sunday night. Just closed out our daily candle. I'm on the 15-minute chart here. As we can see, we're going pretty much sideways in an extremely tight range over the past several days. You know, ever since we bounced on that $6,500 region and finding that resistance all the way up here at $7,800, that's been the barrier and really the area of uneventful noise that Bitcoin continues to range in. And even though this is about a little over $1,000, and that's definitely a meaningful move, obviously, but can we really define the next leg of this market until one of these is broken? If we were able to get above $7,800, this area where we found very stiff resistance as we were able to complete our inverted head and shoulders here. Doesn't this seem so long ago when we did this? Right? There was our neckline, and then there was our full extension. And then ever since then, we've been putting in these lower highs. Okay? And we've been putting these lower lows while we continue to consolidate within this area of price support. Guys, my name is Big Jonas. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Please hit that thumbs up button if you're enjoying my content. It's been a couple since we've spoken last, but I figure weekly candle just closed out, daily candle just closed out. All sorts of interesting things to talk about, so why not come line to the five folks. Remember, guys, follow me on fluxtradinggroup.com, fluxtradinggroup.com. We have a private group where I am with the one and only Darth Crypto, Chart Vampire, myself, Big Jonas, and the Cryptomist. And we are on the Discord talking about our plays that we have in mind, looking at different charts, taking on different perspectives of trading analysis, and always talking about Bitcoin. So definitely come on board, fluxtradinggroup.com. Also follow me on Twitter at Big Jonas. I also want to talk about the cryptocurrency market cap. I do not sponsor Best Buy on my show yet, because this is very important that our market cap has been under 200 billion. We can see that up here. I can't believe it. We have almost 5,000 individual cryptos on 20,000 different markets. Okay, now look at our 24-hour volume. 24-hour volume has only been 60 billion, and our BTC dominance here has been hovering in the mid to high 60s, but we've given back a little bit here. Okay, I want to just really try and focus on Bitcoin, though. And what I want to talk about as we start out here is the historical data. Because what we're looking at here is we're looking at this volume profile, 16 billion, 17, 18, 15, 18, 21. All right, very low compared to what we were doing when we actually did have our $6,500 bounce. You see where we peaked here at 42 billion. Okay, this represented that capitulation move, and followed by definitely some decent bull buying when we did hit that low on November 25th around $6,600. But ever since then, ever since the 40 billions, okay, we've been pretty much stagnant here and declining, and now we're pretty consistent here in this mid-teens. As you can clearly see, our market cap since then, 129 billion. 129 billion. So our market cap hasn't really changed at all, but our volume is decreasing. Now, we can look at this a couple of ways, obviously. Our market cap's the same, but our volume's decreasing. Maybe the selling has dried up. But clearly, we're not really seeing the buyers come in as well. It's kind of holding put here, and we have basically been talking about that within the range itself. Now, if I was to do a Fibonacci, where would I want to put it? Because yes, technically this is our swing low and this is our swing high, and everything kind of in between is where we're analyzing as to what our retrace is. And you know, once again, the golden pocket, you know, there she is acting so far as that initial support with this double bounce here. So we have this double bounce of support within the golden pocket. We actually had a slight, looks like lower low here that actually took people out of this trade on the first attempt to hold this support. But the second one did produce this little spike here. Remember, we've had a bunch of these little spike outs here, but in actuality, if you can think about it, where the spike basically ended, somewhere in this area here, if you caught the short here before the dump, okay, and you rode this from 7,200 down to a little over 7K here, you needed to either get out of your trade, out of that short, or have your stop loss or trailing stop loss very tight, because this spike pretty much took all your profits away. If you were able to do that ideal short up there, let me go a different color. You short the market here, you can't. You gotta keep your profit contained there, because once this basically spiked above this area here, that was all the good short money that was taken out of that, and now the short is no longer the play there. But as you can see, the lower high was what actually was held on the back test of the area here, and we can see that lower high has been pretty consistent ever since we're going on to six days here, basically, of these lower highs within the channel itself. Oops. Now, can I? All right, I gotta do that. So that's what's going on with Bitcoin in the very short term. It's hard to basically say we've accomplished much while being still above 7K. It is notable that, listen, 7K has been what we considered as kryptonite. Once we were able to find that major reversal here, testing it numerous times and holding above. But you got to ask yourself, how many times are we able to hold this situation here? As we go and kind of zoom out to higher time frames, I want to introduce some moving averages here. We can kind of get a sense of where we are in the spaghetti lines, because we have our MA 50, 100, and 200, very tight confluence. But as we kind of range up through the higher time frames, we're getting hourly here. Okay, there's our 200 is at $7,200. But on the 4 hour, our 200 is at $7,600, and we're actually finding that MA 50 and 100 resistance. Our 6 hour, we're actually having little cross here of our 50 and 100. This could be interesting here, and I bet you this wouldn't. I bet you I wouldn't be surprised we actually do find this area, if the price action did touch that, as resistance, having both these MAs literally touching so close together, and the 200 is still actually above 8K there on that time frame. Now you can see the bearish spread here as we're up to the 12 hour now. How the MA 50 continues to act as resistance on these last two upper wicks on the 12-hour chart. So you can see the last one here was able to pierce through, but that was actually a bull trap with that MA50 breakthrough on the intra-candle 12-hour, and so far has been in that short that would have been held through on the more of a swing trade there, because 12-hour, we're talking about several days of price action here, obviously. And finally, our daily. Now this is where I kind of focus on for the next couple minutes. We did just close out our daily candle, and this is definitely very important. We have to see the situation as to, I really want to be bullish, obviously, right? Because it would make everybody happy. But as we keep drifting below and lower here, we're switching the angles of our moving averages on our daily time frame, like our higher daily time frame. Because of that, what we're seeing here is that the 50 below the 100 below the 200, which now is turning lower here, and not just turning lower, but having the first negative, I call it a -4, maybe a -3, on its aperture decline vector, or ADV. I just made that up. Maybe it is a 4. And what's notable about that is because this is the first lowering of a very upward trending, very bullish MA200 on the daily chart here. We can see how it has acted as resistance on the underside. Once we were able to get above it and close above it, very notable, especially on the daily. And we were actually to ride it for some time here. But once that broke back on the 9th of November, that resistance has held pretty consistent here. And that is definitely notable. Sunday night. Okay, so we're still in bearish cross territory here. our 50 through our 100, our 200 rising here, our 100 through our 200. And that was a big one there too, you know, the 100 falling through the 200. And we are in the exact same bearish stance here with the 50 below the 100 and the 200 top here during our entire bear market of the end of 2018 here. I mean, as we can see, once that MA200 held as resistance, okay, we never got back over it. Here, 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 okay, and only when we were able to blast above, okay, did this bull market really begin to take hold. But for now, we are putting the same MA setup, right? This was back then, this is now. The red over the blue over the brown, the red over the blue over the brown. Now, as we can see, there were a couple times where the brown, MA50, did cross the blue MA100 here, here, and almost here. Okay, but the third time was not a charm in this sense. So we can still have these bullish moments in the bear market where we have the MA50 crossing, breaking, even going above. This was a bullish cross here of note. Okay, but then to go from something like that to something that was never able to recapture that cross there, we are setting up the similarities here. So we can still see a bullish cross with our 50 and our 100. Price action gets close to it. We can even get above it. Many times did we were able to find that MA 100 support, okay, on the daily candle closing support, MA 50 and 100, you know, really nice support here until that 100 became resistance here. And also you can see that the rollover happened kind of early in the market here. We're just rolling over here, okay, and the MA 150 are like very similar positioning here. You know, the 200 isn't as high as you can see that it was last time because Bitcoin never got as high. It never got as high. And that brings me to my next segment. Bitcoin didn't get as high this time because every other time that Bitcoin has basically started a new bullish market and a bullish trend, Bitcoin was able to achieve a new all-time high. Get the old crayon out. Okay, here's our high, here's our low, here's our all-time high, here's our low, here's our all-time high, here's our low, here's our all-time high, here's our low, here's our whoa negative, okay, lower high for the first time here. Okay, actually I should use my angled slope to show the trend angle. And again, the trend angle, the number really isn't the key here because it can change depending upon how you have your chart up. Okay, so it's not necessarily the number or this number, it's just the fact that it's in the negative. That's really the key here. And this is our first lower high as Bitcoin has done this. So what does that tell us? Well, it should tell us that maybe this isn't the bull market expansion that we're experiencing here, and that potentially we are still in the repercussions, the unwinding, the bear market is still ongoing. And really, you know, again, bull market, bear market. On the stock market, you know, a bear market is 20% off. Okay, Bitcoin is well over, you know, what, 50-60% off. Okay, so yes, we're in a bear market of this move here. Okay, we're not 60% off of our all-time highs though, right? From 20,000 here, we are. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to do the other one. You know, on this retrace. There we go. Okay. We are still okay. So we're hovering about 76% off. Okay, our all-time highs. Now Bitcoin has found support in the 78 to 84 range, and it does represent the last area really of fib support until we're just going to go right back down to that double tap there of where it all began, on the 3K zone. So there is support, and we can look at it from this other angle, though, as the 786 was, not 76, the golden ratio was the end of our bull market for this year, $13,800. Boom, right there. We knew point A, and we knew point B, and we could derive point C, frankly, before all this even happened. If this was your target, the golden pocket, right? And then what's happened since then is the 5.5 has been resistance. The 382 has been resistance. And I mean like dead on resistance. Look where the dailies ended here, even the wick. And we are once again like literally right at the 326 as support. Now the first time we broke it, meaningful break of the 326. Got that nice bounce because of that. But we're right back there, people. And this is big because we don't want to lose this. Because if we lose this from just a plain Fibonacci standpoint, there's nothing between the 236 and 0. Okay? And because of the way Bitcoin ran so quickly, these patches I see as windows. We see how quickly Bitcoin was able to move in this area here. Right? Down, up, because from 93 to 85, the quick price action happens there. We know this because it happened here too. Look how big these wicks are, these daily candles. These are $500 moves, big moves. So the next one of these windows where we have even bigger moves in Bitcoin, these were almost $1,000 moves here, from 7,200 to like 6K, $5,800. There's nothing, just clear air almost. So I'm prefacing all this that nothing will make me happier, and a lot of my good friends happier, if Bitcoin can find the support at 7K and continue onward. But is this market saying to us in any capacity yet that that there's strength here in this 7K after testing it for a gazillionth time? Okay, we see how tight the Bollingers are now. I really wanted to make these colors better. Give me 1 second, people. And even John Bollinger himself basically said, hey, people, Bollingers are tight. Time to pay attention. That's better. Right? Time to pay attention. And it doesn't need to be that. Right there. That's good. And he's right, because look at the last couple of times the Bollingers were actually really tight, especially this guy right here. Real tight there. Boom. Real tight there. Boom. Very wide, right? So that's why we're able to range sideways, okay? Ranging sideways, very wide here. That's why it took us so long to fall here, okay? Now we're close. Now we're not really super duper tight yet. We could get tighter. Okay, we could bring this in. We could bring this in. And there's center line. We can get this tight, okay? Like even tighter. We've seen it around here. This is what really tight is like on the daily Bollingers. A little tighter here, okay? So it's because we're this tight, but we're getting to a point now where we should start to see this move. Now we're not really seeing Ethereum lead the way bullishly, or Litecoin lead the way bullishly. Definitely a couple alts here and there have spiked. CME. See, are we open yet? Oh, we're open. So CME, we have oops. Didn't want to do that. good. Okay. We opened with a gap down from 72.30-ish. Okay, I'm sure we can see that on the weekly as well. Oh no, there's no gap on the weekly because of the wick there with the daily. Yep, daily. Okay, so $7,200 in the daily CME. Remember, guys, it's my 4 hour. That's the most important to me on the CME. If you've watched my past YouTube shows, you've known why. It's about this gap here that was opened at 13,800 back in January of 18, and on the 4 hour, it's there, and it took 500 days to fill it. And once it filled it, that marked the top. And there are still 3 gaps. Actually, is 71.71 open still? It's been a while since I looked at this chart. Yeah. Right, I guess I was probably referring to one of those. But yeah, that closed. But now we have a new one here. 72.36 now is where the new gap is on the 4 hour chart. Now, it's not all bad news, right? We have an open gap still at 11.9. There she is right there. You can see her. Boom. And of course, though, we also have one at oh, is this one still opened here? No, that's closed. That's closed, right? Yeah, that's closed. Down 34.30. 34.30, you're saying? Yes, 34.30, I'm saying. And let's just zoom in here so we can all see it. And there it is. There was where the candle closed, down here at 35.60. And the next one opened here at 35.96. And then another gap here that was filled over here. But when this came down and retraced, you see how low this wick got, only to 36.20. And it needed to get as low as 35.72 to fill. And that's why there is a gap there on that. And that's why it's so notable for me, because I will always think, even if I'm completely wrong, or even if it takes 500 days or even longer, that Bitcoin will fill this gap down here once again in the low 3Ks shown on the CME. I did want to look at where is dominance? There's dominance. I mean, look at this thing. This is just look at this. What is this? We've not ever seen this in the dominance. Look at that. It's spiky, right? Patterns, good looking patterns here. Good nice mountain peaks, right? Dumps, rips, all sorts of shapes that we've seen before. What is this? This is ugly price action. This is just sideways crap here. This is a slow trickle up of Bitcoin dominance from 67 to 68 over a month. We've never seen that kind of stability. It's nuts. So when this breaks, this will be very different than what this currently has formed. We're going to see much more volatility, and let's game this out. I mean, if Bitcoin dumps, are alt's going to hold up better? I really can't see how that's possible. If Bitcoin rips, does it take altcoin market with it? It could. You know, could more confidence in the actual valuation of Bitcoin would definitely make more confidence in altcoins that much more stronger. But this is, I mean, this is just sideways crap. All right, let's go back to Bitcoin. Do some more Bitcoin. Just want to thank, got about 50 of my closest friends watching me tonight, Sunday night. Guys, please hit that thumbs up button if you're enjoying my content. Remember to check me out on Twitter, @BigChonas, fluxtradinggroup.com as well. Who do we got here in the chat room here? SS Swartz 88. For a second, I'm throwing, hey, Claiborne TR. What's up, buddy? Namaste, Jay Constant, probably not Paul, Chuck Amos Prime, CCK. Thank you for reaching out and saying hey tonight. Much appreciated. Hey, there's a few more thumbs up. Much appreciated. Hey, Robin, how are you tonight? What's it like over there in Italy? Okay, getting back to Bitcoin. Guys, we closed out the week, right? So let's check out the weekly candle. Oh, yeah, check out the weekly candle. We know where we are on the daily. We know where we are here. Everything's weak, okay? But let's just focus on the higher time frame, right? That's what I like to do. Higher time frame, weekly candle. Let's get into it. 29 minutes, okay. I'll do 10 more. So, let's always start with the Bollingers. Tell me where we are in relative form. Now, I want to go to linear here for just a second. Okay. Now, we did breach the lower BB last time. We got a very nice bounce off it. We breached it again. And again, we got a little bounce off it, all right? But compare this guy to this guy, and it was a much weaker bounce. Okay, the third one is if we hit it again, we're just going to ride it down. And these are still pretty wide on the weekly. So even if we go down quick, it's going to spread them even wider. Almost a slower trickle down will allow the upper BB to kind of catch up. And then any meaningful spike. But look how much running room up to the middle Bollinger is, almost at 9,000 still on the weekly. So these are still very wide. Okay. This is what a tighter BB on the weekly can do for a market. This is what a tighter BB on the weekly can do for a bear market. Bear market, bull market, tight, very wide still. This is time. This tells me we're kind of going to next year, okay? And we could be ranging like in this area here, 6K, 5K, back up to 86, coming in this range here. For a while, and allow these to really tighten up over the next several months until we can really push through something more meaningful. Our MAs on the weekly are very notable because now we're finding we close below the 50 and the 100 on the weekly. And we did that here, and we came back up. And we found support on one and then both, actually. But now we fell below. And we found resistance once again on a bear cross. I mean, this is a bear cross, not the super cross, not a death cross, but this is a 50 going below 100. Get rid of my Bollingers as well. Sorry, this is a 100 going below a 50. Now, I know that this can be seen as golden on the bullish side because obviously the 50 is moving faster. Okay, it's moving up into, but the 50 needs to move up into the 100 when the 100 is on the uptrend. Let me get a little more history here. Okay, there's our let's get this right here. Okay, so getting tighter here. Okay, there's our 50. There's our 100. Now, I guess it is moving down ever so slightly. Does have that negative angle there right at the end. The acceleration of the 50. Look at that. Really tight, though. It's moving up. Very clean upward trajectory on the 50. And then we fast forward to today. Oops, taking too long here. Okay, now this is similar. We are seeing that straight up process. Okay, we are seeing the pullback of the 100, and also it is kind of coming up in this area here where it wants to find that stability for sure. And we actually are, how many weeks are we? We're 1, 2, almost 3 weeks here. So we've done this before. What makes this a little different now is really, in my opinion, is that when the 50 broke through the 100 at 350, we had the 200 at around 308, maybe. Okay, it's about $40 lower, so about 12% lower when that happened. Our 200 is at 5,000, and this cross happened at 7,000. So we are 30% lower. So when the MA200 positioned, when the last time the 50 rose above the 100 on the weekly, the 200 was only about 10% lower, showing that you could have the fan out of the MAs back then. We are so much lower than that cross happened the last time, which tells me there needs to be more consolidation in our moving averages on the weekly. That's my overall point. And that consolidation only means one thing. Doesn't necessarily have to be down, but I don't see it exploding up. I still see a ranging potential of significance, and we remember how much that MA200 affected the support here, and especially the double tap. We could do it again. We could do it again. And remember, now it's over 5K. It was closer to 3K, right? The first time it touched, and 3,300 the second time it touched. But now we're, almost $1,500 higher, and then some. That's notable. It's notable that this major support is much higher than it used to be. But if we're getting back down there again, what does it say for the market itself? I do want to talk about the weekly Ichimoku. Okay, we still have sideways running room till we even touch the outer wall here. Again, this can take us as low now to $6,200, 63, and it takes us the ride up here into January, only a few more weeks. And there's really running room above 85, and still 10K up to 11K. That's where the cloud exits here. But you notice we're actually breaking it bearishly on the expanse as we go out and later on in the year of 2020. Okay, we've been in this bearish cloud here, and we haven't seen anything like any kind of a bullish Kumo twist. There was the bullish Kumo twist here back in December of 2016 that really signaled the beginning of this major bullish spike here after being and drifting in this bearish market, in this bearish twist here for most of 2016 here. There was a good signal on the weekly, and off we went, and we are far from that, okay, as we project outward. My EMA is 1226. Listen, we're in a bearish cross. This was your signal right here. Any closes below, 8K, $8,200. Major resistance because of where the EMA 1226 are located. As we stair step down continuously, what kind of pattern are we building here? I'm going to go back to log. The parallel is more or less still hanging around, right? Got some wicks on the other side, bull traps, bear traps. Okay, we found support here, right there. Got up above it, got a little below it, but we've basically been in it. And as you can see, we closed below center channel support. Channel trading is very important. And we're still seeing that. So close weekly below on a bearish engulfing candle right here, right? We're looking for positives, OBV, it's still holding that higher low, but so's the price. Weekly RSI, still holding that higher low, but below 50. And we see where the horizontal is, but we're just we're in an area where we expected support. We're basically still there, but below 50. It's back to a bear cross here in our Stoke. Still pretty weak. Now, we could do, see, here's the thing. We've actually risen a decent amount. We've come back. Okay, we are holding the higher low. You know, I could see this channeling higher for sure. You know, holding this kind of line up here, maybe accelerating a little higher with a little momentum kick. But we've also seen something like this where we actually fade out when we don't get as high there. But we don't really see things that falter too much. And if you look at it, we get the pullback and the acceleration. This is your W. This is your channel. This was the bull market channel. Bottom bounce. Low, higher low. Channel back down. This year's bull market. Way above purchase. This is down. Now, does it make sense for it to crawl back up again? This is tough because it looks like it has room to run on the upside, right? But we haven't done something what we've seen in a while is to have that lower low again before we have that upper trajectory. Otherwise, we can run it now. And it will show itself too. It will show itself. But for now, we're bear crossing it on the Stoke. Oops. MACD back to bearish. So the histo has been irrelevant because we've been so sideways. Yeah, it's a slight higher low, but just a slight higher low. Leading indicator below zero line, and there's our trailer soon to follow, just above it there. Remember, we're looking for some sort of a. This is a very slow trailing indicator. Okay, these are not for like on the spot signals, but we're not seeing the curve over, and our histogram, even though it's been the negative for such a long time here, right? It can really take time for it to spike up. We were so in the positive for a while, we can be in the negative for a while longer as well and still keep that momentum going. But this is setting up, remember, this is the highest time frame here, right? Well, the monthly is obviously, but we have our ebb. Here's our rocket ship. Came all the way down, stabilized, fell, up, all the way down. Now we're actually lower. We're almost lower than we should be in the price action, okay? So we're actually setting up here. But we're getting closer to finding where we found that turnaround, or we're looking for that turnaround. But the histo isn't showing it yet in any capacity. And the higher time frame is definitely tough to use the MACD on. But we're looking for, if we see that crossover, that's important. And lastly here, I want to focus on something. Go back to the daily though for this one. This is BitMEX funding, you know. And what this means is that so when the market was net long up here, Bitcoin was dumping. The market, not the market, but the money, the side is on the short side here because of the break, okay? And it's still the short side. So if Bitcoin falls here, it's going to pay shorts off because of what the funding is showing us here. So to balance that out, it's showing that there's a fee, an extra fee, to maintain a short in this price action here. And this has basically been a kind of opposite situation here. Look how much it cost to long at this peak here on June 23rd. Look at that. Look how high that peak is here. Well, what the hell else happened between, around that June 23rd area? Oh, maybe it was Bitcoin all-time highs of the year here, like to the day. Yep. So November 18th here, look at this. This was our super bearish move here. We were very bearish all through here. When market too overly bullish, that's when it topped. Now we've had kind of pluses and minuses here, but we've been really on the negative here all the way through most of November into December. And so what's it going to take to flip that market one more time? Oh yeah, I did want to mention one more thing here. This was our longs and shorts. Yeah, this is something else here. I talked about. I used to talk about this like for years. I mean, this is what I used to talk about a lot on my older YouTube shows, and I can't believe we're back to this. Wow, I got to remove this. Wow, 70% in 26 days. This is on Bitfinex though. Okay, but we are at all-time high longs in a parabolic move here, and BTC shorts are and have been for quite a while pretty low, from a contract to contract situation here. So for shorts to beginning to rise, you would actually be getting to see either, I mean, the discrepancy of this is nuts. But not just because of where these are, it's because how quickly the longs have run here. And because of that quickness, I mean, there's probably running room of at least $1,000 on the downside of Bitcoin before you start seeing any meaningful liquidation of those longs. So because the longs are so high, it kind of counteracts the funding rate, showing that it could favor, it would favor shorts, meaning that the longs would basically have a better chance to pump. But because the longs are offsetting that as so high on Bitfinex, it kind of negates it a little bit. So guys, big Jonas. Been a good 45 minutes talking on this Saturday night. 50 of my closest friends hanging out with me tonight. Definitely appreciate those thumbs up and your support. Definitely appreciate the follows on Twitter. Haven't been super duper active on Twitter because, I mean, listen, I could say a million charts about Bitcoin at 7K, from historical perspectives to fractals to where we are in relation to the Bollingers and moving averages and whatnot. But the overall trend still has to be kept in mind on the higher trends as well. As we start this brand new week of Bitcoin price action after going pretty quiet consolidation over the past several weeks here, as we get into this historic week of Bitcoin history, of course, we all remember what things can happen mid-December. We had this 3,000 to 4,000, almost a $900 move here in Bitcoin at this time. It was almost a 25% move in Bitcoin at that week. That was a year ago, people. Today, we start that week a year ago. And then we also remember what happened 2 years ago when Bitcoin was all-time highs, pretty much 2 years ago this week. So a lot of historic significance for the halfway point of the month of December. And we will see if history will repeat itself, in which direction, of course, shall be written. Until next time, this is Big Jonas. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Feel free to reach out on Twitter DM. They are open if you guys have any questions. Hoping to have some cool announcements and stuff to talk about in the new year. And we'll see where this happens. I definitely am very excited for 2020 in terms of all things, but of course Bitcoin as well, as we get closer to the halvening, which is happening sometime again in mid-May, and I think will once again be a defining crossroads of Bitcoin price action. But of course there are also other things that are in the works and in play that can have great effect on Bitcoin as well, that I definitely plan to discuss in future shows. So until next time, Big Jonas here. Thanks. Have a great night. Love you guys. Peace.